They stop being the darkest when you accumulate a few. Then they just become secrets and your life becomes dark. What is your deepest, darkest secret? I've lived a boring, non-secretive life, but my great-grandfather once told me a story of when he killed a man with a baseball bat for trying to rob the bar that he owned, and the regulars of the bar stashed the body somewhere and nobody ever talked about it again. He then put his finger to his mouth and said, "SHH, don't tell anyone." So there you go. Sorry, Gramps. In 1996, I was 6 years old and a friend told me that computer mouse balls were worth as much as gold. Stupidly and with no plan, I stole one from the classroom computer. Our teacher got extremely angry and I got really scared I'd get caught. He had us all leave the room and go in one by one so that whoever stole it could anonymously put it back. I was too scared that somebody might see, so I didn't put it back. The next day, I was going to try to secretly return it, but a kid randomly emptily confessed that he was the one who stole it and his mom went to the store to buy a new one. I should have taken a stand and said, "No, Kyle. You didn't steal it, I did." 28 years later, Kyle is a stripper at a gay nightclub. I have the type of OCD that makes me think I'm a I have never touched a child and never want to. The thought of it disgusts me. But I get recurring intrusive and very unwanted thoughts about it. When I had my son, I almost gave him up for adoption because of the horrendous fear that I would hurt him somehow without realizing. I'll look at a little girl's hair and go, "Ah, how cute." And my brain goes, "Wow, look at you, clearly there's something really wrong with you." I was abused as a child myself, so I think it was just a weird way my brain coped with it. To be afraid of causing that pain to someone else so much that every action is a potential sign that I am capable of hurting a child like that. It became extreme and I limited a lot of my life to try and prevent something I would never do. I didn't learn it was OCD until well into adulthood. Once I realized they were just intrusive thoughts and they didn't define who I was, it sort of lost its power over me. But I've only ever told my husband. In 6th grade I had a friend that lived across the country from me. We Skyped all the time and we were best friends. Well, one night when we were on Skype she was talking about how she didn't want to live, hung up abruptly, and I've never heard from her since. For years I thought she put on a show so she wouldn't have to talk to me. I'm waiting for my spouse to pass so that I can follow soon after. Maybe another 5 years or less. This is no doubt my darkest secret. My wife is the one for me. We are like one person split between two people, two bodies and one soul. Wifey completes me in every sense. She's kind, smart, funny, reserved and amazingly graceful. For the world to lose a soul like hers would be a terrible tragedy. She sparks life to everyone around her. She makes people happy and feel loved. Complete strangers have expressed their gratitude for her genuine kindness. However, she is significantly ill and riddled with autoimmune diseases. She's often referred to as the patient who won't die. Her rheumatologist and I have become remarkably close friends. Break bread with one another every week or so, and we share the same PCP, who has also become a close friend to me. Since COVID, I am no longer able to stay in the hospital with her when she is admitted. Anytime she has to be intubated for her breathing, the nurses always set up her iPad so I can see her and talk to her. Though she cannot hear me when she's under, I speak and have conversations while looking at her still and almost lifeless body. I respond to her questions and comments. I laugh at her jokes. Tell her how much she is loved and to somehow find her way back to me. To open her eyes once more and give us both just one more minute together. I cry uncontrollably. I watch her through the iPad every hour of day and night. I usually pass out while doing so. Wake up and continue the ritual. I struggle with suicidal tendencies. Even our children worry for me. I'm worried for me. My wife's doctors are worried for me. I have done everything possible one could probably do in this situation. It feels like there is a timer slowly going down for us both. My darkest hope is that I pass in my sleep with her. When I was a child, I managed to get a speech therapist fired. I was in speech classes up until high school, but this happened around 3rd or 4th grade. I don't know what her official title was, but she was not the speech teacher I would see regularly. She was an older woman, probably around her 60s. I believe she was there to examine how well the speech therapy had been going and to distract. She had me read sentences with the sounds and letters I struggled with. As this was happening, she mocked me and she laughed while telling me I had the weakest tongue she had ever seen. As a child with speech impediment, I was already self-conscious, but for an adult authority figure to belittle me like that, it made me never want to speak again. Once the school day was over, my mother noticed I wasn't very talkative. Eventually I broke down and I told my mom about the whole situation. She called the distract and threatened legal action. We were notified soon after that the woman had been fired. There was even a phone call between my mom and the woman, where she had begged my mom for forgiveness so she could keep her job. I suppose none of this is really a secret, just something I don't talk about often. Her own actions are what led to her termination. However, secretly I do hope I ended that woman's career, as callous as that may sound. You don't mock a child, and you especially don't mock a child for something they can't control. To do so when your career has you working with children shows you're unfit for that role. Everyone at my job tells me everything, complains about each other to me, and I just agree with whatever they say regardless of what I actually think. Nothing feels real to me, and I sometimes wish I could be hit by a car on the way to work so I could be out for a week or two. If you enjoy the video, smash that like button, subscribe to help and motivate us to continue making videos like this and much more. It's free. Leave a comment if you have stories to share and maybe yours will appear in the next video. Our team wishes you have a great day. I did some super sketchy spying on a girlfriend and discovered her plan to and run off with her affair partner. Edit for the quick version, figured she was cheating, which she went to great lengths to deny. Rolled the dice on my gut and decided the risk of being a complete piece of shit was worth it. Had a close friend give me a crash course with some extremely intrusive tech and confirmed the affair, of course, but then discovered she was spending a lot of time figuring the exact amount of tetrahydrozoline it would take to someone with my specific height and weight. She tried once and missed me, got my best friend instead. Less than 36 hours later, he was in the ER. She evidently tried it again a few months later when we both had COVID and locked ourselves in for 2 weeks. They're married now. My friend has to take a pill for the rest of his life, and as long as I live, I'll never again underestimate how needlessly cruel people can be, even when they're telling you to your face that they love you. The worst thing I ever done. I mixed a pot of fake puke at home and then I went to this movie theater, hid the puke in my jacket, climbed up to the balcony, and then I made a noise like I was going to throw up, and then I dumped it over the side, all over the people in the audience. And then, this was horrible, all the people started getting sick and throwing up all over each other. I never felt so bad in my entire life. Back in the day I would go to Walmart and Kmart and wipe the hard drives of every PC on display once every 2 or 3 weeks. I did this for a couple of years. I taught a friend to format from the C prompt and he started doing it too, and he taught a person. After a while all the PCS on display at the mega stores for like 20 counties around us were periodically being formatted and erased. Years later I was talking to a guy who had worked for Walmart for like 30 years, and he was telling me how someone used to format all the PCS in the 2 Walmart he worked in. He worked in the 2 counties I frequented most. Funny thing was they actually set up a sting operation to catch the felonious formatter, and dude was paid overtime to walk the electronics section as a plain-clothed customer for like 3 months and never caught the person, even though I'm pretty sure I was still formatting the drives periodically. Somehow we missed each other, ha ha ha. For the record, I was only blowing off steam and figured that what I was doing was harmless shenanigans. I've never been in any kind of trouble with the law, but every now and then when I walk through a PC store I get the itch. I have a fart fetish. Girls farting ignites something feral in me. I want to be rid of it so badly it's like a curse. I want a real girlfriend. I want real love. Here's the darkest secret. A girl I know who's really beautiful knows I have a crush on her, so one day I asked her to do this, totally consensually, and she agreed to it. I asked her to fill up on whatever she needed to: beans, beef, broccoli, eggs, anything that would make her fart. Well, she did, and had some dairy to kick it. She's lactose intolerant, and then come over and I got a gas mask and taped a tube to the mouth, then taped and sealed the other end to her butt. We hung out sitting next to each other at my place, and the whole time she was letting out the most foul, lactose intolerance turbo injected farts into the tube, for me to breathe in. I made her swear to never tell a soul, and she didn't, and no one knows I did that, but now let it be known that you all now carry this tale. You all think you have demons, think again. Live in the only major urban center in a very rural area where there's all kinds of suburbs, road construction, gravel pits, etc. Whenever I see heavy equipment that doesn't get moved or is left unattended, I sneak into the worksite at night, climb in the always unlocked bulldozer or whatever the fuck it is, and proceed to lay on the horn in the dead of night before scrambling away. It has been a decade since I started, and I think now I've honked the horns of just about every type of heavy machinery that has one. I once said I only had 5 avocados in self-checkout when I damn well knew there were 6 avocados in that bag. I couldn't pick up the pieces after my divorce. Would go weeks without showering or brushing my teeth. I found my baby blanket from my youth in a trunk and wrapped it around myself that night. Best sleep I had had in years. I keep it in my bed since then. I am a 42-year-old man. There were many secrets, some funny, some serious, about pranks or traumas. The strangest story was the one with farts from my point of view. When I read it for the first time I was shocked for a few minutes but also amused. Some were more worrying, I mean the one with and I know that there are prevention centers when you have such thoughts where people are willing to help you control your mind and cure your OCD. We've reached the end of the video. If you enjoy, smash that like button, subscribe to help and motivate us to continue making videos like this and much more. It's free. Leave a comment if you have stories to share and maybe yours will appear in the next video. Check out our latest stories which will appear on the screen. Our team wishes you have a great day.